a night for Nile. You're probably wondering what is a night for Nile. Well, we have performed with this fantastic group, the Niles Project Band, in several communities, and we are taking this on the road to educate the public. Our mission at Niles Project is to share information about the current epidemic that many of us aren't aware of is an epidemic, and that is MRSA, mescaline-resistant staph aureus. Simply stated, it's a staph infection that is resistant to the typical antibiotics that you get treated with. And today, millions of viewers of the Oprah Winfrey Show just learned about this. I don't know if any of you saw this several weeks ago, but we worked with the producers of Oprah's show to begin to educate the public on this information. As Kermit mentioned, our son, Niall Calvin Moss, was in the hospital and he contracted this. So that was back in 2006. For the last 3 years, we've spent time learning about it, and we're here to share what we've learned with all of you. For the last several months, we've had the pleasure of working with Sabrina Arney and the Ames Academy here at Jordan High School. We are so pleased to work with the students that are interested in healthcare for the future, because we believe that's where our future relies, in the safety, for patient safety. For years, many people have contracted MRSA mainly in hospitals, but as many of you may have seen and noted, and as Kermit mentioned, it's no longer just in the hospitals. It's now in the communities. It's in the gyms. It's in the nail salons. You can get it by shaking a hand or a hug. It can kill quickly if it's not treated. So we spend the time to work with students, work with legislative teams of people, so that our hospitals are safe and our communities are safe. Many of you, by now, should have received 2 little pocket-sized pieces of information from the folks out front. One of them is 15 steps on how to prevent infections in hospital, and the other is 10 steps on how to prevent infections in schools. So this is life-saving information we wish we had. Just to share a little bit about what happened with Niall, he had gone in just for a simple series of tests, an MRI, and nothing invasive. And less than 2 weeks later, he had a fever over Easter weekend, and it got a little bit higher, and so that was a Saturday, and we took him into the hospital on Sunday, and he was admitted with severe pneumonia at 4 o'clock. And by 11 o'clock that night, he was saying his goodbyes. This is not unusual. This is what's happening in many places. And what the challenge is that many of our doctors and staff are not acting quickly enough to treat this. We have learned that there's ways to prevent it. So we've worked with the legislative process, and we've been able to establish new laws in the state of California that will help save lives. And we're very thankful to Governor Schwarzenegger, Senator Elaine Alquist for implementing Niles Law. That was effective January 1st. And Senator Dean Flores for implementing new healthcare, infection prevention healthcare legislation as well, January 1, 2009. So many of you are probably wondering a little bit more about Niall, and I want to share that with you. We've got some clips that you can kind of take a look at Niall and understand a little bit more about him. So here it is. Who is Niall? Guess what? That's not Niall. This is the band. So many of the folks that are playing today all love Niall, and these are all different types. Where is Niall? He's not even in any of these pictures. So there's Carlos. You see him playing today. Ian, who's playing in the back. What's going on right here? It's kind of interesting to share this with you. The songs you're about to hear from Rod McNeil and the team started with Niall. he was taking piano lessons, and he played 3 notes, and from those 3 notes, we created a CD with lots of beautiful music over the top of it. So just after I speak, well, we don't have one picture of Niall in here, so I'm not sure what happened there, but let's move on. I'd like to share, I'll just share with you a little bit more about Niall. So he was a faith-filled lover of life. He was 15 years old, and each day he'd wake up and he'd say, "Mom, what are we doing today?" And I'd say, "Well, you're gonna go to school, and then you're gonna do this." And there he is! It's his best friend, Jackie. Yay! And that's his brother, King. So this is his family and friends. But Niall overcame many obstacles in his life, which is one of the reasons why we're here at Jordan. We are inspired by the students of Jordan High School. Niall would have graduated this year, and later on in the program, we have a tribute to Niall in presenting 2 scholarships to some excellent students here that we were very honored to meet. Niall was an honor student. He was an artist. He loved music, which is why we shared the story in the preventative measures through music. He'd go to school with an iPod mini in one pocket and an iPod shuffle in the other, and he couldn't get enough music. So he's inspired all of us with his strength. He overcame many medical obstacles and educational obstacles, and inspired simply everyone that he touched. So through him, we hope to educate people so that we were actually unaware of going into the hospital and getting these infections, and we were unprepared to protect Niall. So we are doing everything we can to educate the students, the doctors, which is kind of, it's surprising, but infection prevention isn't a focus for many people. So we're doing what we can to share what we've learned over the last 2 years. So at this point, I'd like to share a little bit with you. We learned that our healthcare community has known how to prevent these infections. And Senator Dean Alquist did a 5-hour hearing that we've condensed into 5 minutes for you, where he learned that the superbug MRSA has killed more people in a year than AIDS and cancer combined. He heads up a committee that is focused on emergencies, and he felt it was time to do this. So what you're going to hear on this next tape is layers of our state workers sharing what they know, and to share with Senator Flores and every other person listening, are we prepared for a superbug outbreak? And essentially what you'll hear them say is that we're in the middle of an epidemic today, and we wanted to share this with you. At the end of the tape, you'll hear Ty, my husband, Niall's dad, speak.